want to make it right. I didn't even do nothing. Oh, some clothes. She can have them clothes. I want my wife, man. I can't do shit without her. Oh, come on, man. Baby, please don't do me like this. Come on, please. Please don't do me like this. I'm sick of it too. I want to be right with you. I can't do this without you. I can't do this. Please don't do this to me. I can't even do shit right here. And you know that, man. Why are you doing me like this, man? Everything I do is a fucking problem, G. And I'm sitting here telling you I don't have nobody, man. I'm going through a lot too, G. All I know is you. And you really trying to hurt my heart, G.
Since I've been with you, I never went out with no girl behind your back. I never chilled with nobody, bro. I never did nothing to you, bro. Yo, for you to be out with another nigga right now cheating on me, bro, that shit fucking hurt. And I can't do this shit. I can't do this shit anymore. I'm so fucking weak. I'm too weak, bro. Yo, I gotta end my life, bro, because I can't do this shit. Yo, I swear to God, Taliba, I want you to look me in my eyes, yo. This is it. I'm never in my life, I would never cry over another female again, yo. Yo, you out there doing what you doing, bro. I never talked to no bitches, bro. I didn't fuck nobody. I never went on a date with nobody. What you doing right now, yo, this shit fucking hurt me, bro. Cause I never went out with another female, bro. I never went out with another female, and you out there drinking with another nigga. And I know how you get when you get drunk. Just like the last time you went to Philly, bro, you was drunk.
Black Ram 313 back at it again. You know why? It's because this is therapeutic, man. Back again with another video, hence another therapy session, this time for Patreon exclusively. Today's topic and title is why divorce and breakups are often harder for men than women. I'm going to kick this video off with an article from Psychology Today. The title of this article is Why Breakups Are Actually Tougher on Men. A range of studies show that men are less steady on their own than women. Here's the article and quote, well, we all know the stereotype. Men bored by the constraints of monogamy and domesticity heartlessly dump their girlfriends or leave their wives while newly single men enjoy the freedoms of bachelordom. Their exes sob into a pint of ice cream. But men crave relationships and marriage as much as women. What's more, women may end more unions than men. Women initiate more divorces than men, and there is little gender difference in which spouses have an affair preceding divorce. In addition, on average, women may suffer less post-breakup. Marriage is strongly associated with overall happiness for both gender, in part because marriage is associated with financial well-being and better health. But not only may marital happiness be higher for men than women, I doubt that. Back to the article. The protective health effect of marriage is larger for men. Men may be happier in their marriages than women, and men may have more to lose in a divorce or breakup in terms of health and happiness. Indeed, divorce is associated with worse physical and mental health more strongly for men than women. These negative health effects are not trivial. Men are more likely than women to develop suicidal tendencies and ideations after a separation. Women may actually experience some health benefits from breaking up. For example, when stable heterosexual couples are asked to sleep apart, not sharing the same bed or sleep in the same space, women's quality of sleep is improved, whereas men's quality of sleep is reduced. So why are breakups harder for men? Much of the negative effect of divorce on health may be explained by changes in lifestyle such as tobacco and alcohol use. Wives encourage husbands' healthy behavior. Without this positive influence, divorced men may rapidly fall into old unhealthy habits. In addition, men may be more emotionally dependent on their romantic partners and have fewer alternative sources of support. When asked who they turned to first if they were feeling depressed, 71% of men selected their wives, whereas only 39% of women selected their husbands. Married women may maintain a more diverse network of emotional support than married men, and this non-spousal support is important during a separation. That isn't to say that men don't have friends or family, but may less likely be accustomed to seeking or receiving non-spousal emotional support. In fact, some researchers have even argued that men are neurochemically predisposed to find breakups more difficult than women and to resist seeking help from friends. Divorced women are less likely than divorced men to remarry, but in the short term, it may be harder for men than women to rebound with a new partner. Online dating sites, for example, often have an excess of men. In addition, it's not clear how much of the gender gap in remarriage is due to opportunity. For example, women may be less able to remarry. Women may be less keen to remarry. Many women, especially widows, but also divorced women with children, don't want a second go at marriage. Previously married women often associate marriage with increased care and obligations and reduced freedom, whereas men may miss the material and emotional care they receive from their spouse. On average, men may be more emotionally dependent on their spouses, which would make remarriage more desirable. Indeed, it is the men with low levels of social support from friends who are most desirous of remarriage. End quote from the article from Psychology Today, titled Why Breakups Are Actually Tougher on Men. Now, I actually think that was quite a good article. Now, remember, when you're listening to articles like this, when you're seeing information like this, it's mostly true. We may rebel against such a notion only because we are not blue-pilled. We are real-pilled. However, the blue-pill world, blue-pill males, right? This describes them to a T. They are emotionally, mentally, and physically dependent on the relationship they have with the modern female. Just like a baby is dependent on mama's milk, so is the average blue pill male dependent on the presence of the female. This is called male mother need, talked about by Stardust and such. I've seen in my own life a lot of guys become emotionally crippled by the demise of a relationship. It is indeed tougher for a man to get over a breakup than a woman. The article talked about how on dating sites it's tough for a guy, but for women, because there are more men on dating sites than women. For every one woman, there's probably about 10, 15, 20, 25 or so men. I literally read somewhere, I can't remember where, but I read that for every one woman on a dating site, there are 25 men. Although there are more women than men in the population. On the dating sites, it is el sausage festa. You have to compete with at least 25 other guys for each female on the site. In other words, she can re-up quickly, way more quickly than you can. And the article stated, and I believe this is true, the female would just rather ride the carousel, while most males would rather be back into a relationship. I've seen guys that went through the ringer in their past relationships. I'm talking about the woman cheated on them, was physically abusive to the guy, and the guy goes back and tries to marry another woman. I know guys who've been married 3, 4 times, man, and still don't get it because they are dependent emotionally on having a woman. And then they happen to always pick the worst one because they're so desperate. And desperation can lead a man to doing many dangerous things. It's tough out here, man. Real tough. So I want to get into the 6 reasons why now breakups are harder for men. Now, this is therapy now. You know how Black Round 313 does it. I deal with the heart because it's men who really have hearts. It's men who really love. Speaking of which, that takes me to number one as to the reasons why breakups and divorce are harder for men. Now, when you're going through that dark moment, man, we can shame simps and we can talk about it and we can shame men for having heartbreaks, but it doesn't show necessarily weakness. What it shows is that you actually have a heart. Now, it can be weakness, and I'm not saying in no uncertain terms to be weak, but these things happen. Breakups are harder for you than it is for her because there are a lot of reasons, 6 reasons why breakups are harder for men than women. Number one is because as a man, you love harder than she. Men are the true romantics. Guys direct their affections onto her. She's simply a receiver of such. You cannot name one thing females do specifically that is associated with the thought of being romantic. She is the receiver of gifts. She's the receiver of love and affection, not the giver, except to children, but not necessarily to a man. It's typically the guy who brings the flowers, the cars, the candy, not her. When a man loves, he loves for real. Think about all the things a man is willing to do to keep a woman in his life. He's willing to pay for dating sites just for the chance to get at a woman. He's willing to pay dating coaches. He's willing to pay for the shoes and the clothes and the jewelry and all the things that's necessary, including the car and his haircut, to seek to attract a woman that he's looking for. He's willing to go to school. He's willing to work long hours, 60 hours a week. He's willing to get that degree just so that he can provide for a potential wife. And he gets his self-worth from the idea that he can lure in and attract women. His whole world is dependent on being able to attract women. And so-called YouTubers, right, who are supposed to be red pill, they're still blue pill, because they'll say in a heartbeat, and I quote, "You ain't shit because you don't get no puss." Men look at themselves through the lenses of females, and they develop their self-worth, or at least assess their self-worth through the eyes of a woman, whether or not you can get some puss or not. And your ability or inability to do so determines how you rank within the hierarchy of men. And of course, this is nothing but BS. But as a man, he makes all the sacrifices possible to show himself worthy of a specific woman or women in general. This is not right, but this is the plight of men. Men want women so bad that a man is literally willing to give his everything for her. Look at Jeff Bezos. Look at Dr. Dre. Look at all the men who are giving up everything. Look at Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. They'll give up everything for a chance to be with her. It's a fact that men love women way more than a woman could ever love a man. No female is ever expected or even asked to die for a man or even sacrifice for a man. But as a man, you are definitely expected to die to protect your woman. Think about it. It's terrible that we feel this way, but we cannot help ourselves, can we? We cannot help but to love her. Nothing makes a man feel better than a woman. Nothing makes a woman feel better than her own vanity. It feels like a curse, I know, but we love her and she loves herself. And where do you fit in this equation? You're the one that shows her how much that she should love herself. Men put women on a pedestal, and all she can do is look down upon you. So it's definitely easier for a woman to get over a man, because as a man, you love her more than she could ever love you or even imagine to do so. Number 2, as to the reason breakups are harder for men, is because as a man, you invest more. Again, he's the one seeking her. He's the one chasing her. He's the one pursuing her. He's the one doing the spending. He's the one doing the wooing and pursuing. He's the one that's giving the most in the interaction. He's the most giving of his time, his energy, and his money in the relationship and in pursuit of a relationship with any particular female. And what does she do? What does she do? She sits back and is courted. She sits back and is wooed and pursued, and she makes the choice. She gets to look cute. And she may say that it takes time and energy to look cute, but doesn't it take him time and energy too? But what does she does that's equal to what he does? And that answer, of course, is absolutely nothing. She may put on the makeup and wear the heels, but he has to pay for the meal. The man is expected to do everything. He's expected to make every investment in a relationship. In fact, he's almost always the only one making an investment in the relationship. And what does she do? She gets to look cute, or maybe not so, after she believes that she has you. So, of course, breakups are harder because he loses more, because he invested more. He is expected to do more. He's expected to make her life comfortable through his hard work and sacrifice. Do you know that there is not a man on earth who has a woman and loves this woman and actually wants her to go to work? Men want their women at home, comfortable, and not have to deal with the stressors of life, specifically at work. He wants to protect her from that type of stress. But would you ever hear a woman saying, I wish he didn't have to go to work? Of course not. I'll even put it like this. Let's say she inherited some wealth from her family and she's a multimillionaire. She would probably still want you to go to work, because that means that you are sacrificing something for her as the goddess and the queen in your life that she believes that she is. Here's the thing, man. There's pretty much not a woman born in these days who doesn't believe that a man is literally built and born himself to slave and toil and worship her. She literally believes that you are created to be her servant, even if it was unnecessary. She still wants you to be her servant. If she has money, she still wants you to work hard for yours, even if she's a millionaire and you only make $30,000 a year. Because you are expected to serve. You're expected to invest. In fact, you're expected to invest everything in a relationship, while she sits back and reaps the rewards and the benefits of your hard work and sacrifice. He invests more, which is why breakups are much more difficult for he than she. Which leads me to number 3. Again, men have more to lose because he has invested more. Or again, as I said, he's the only one who has invested in a relationship. So, of course, the breakup is tough. Not to mention the child support, not to mention the alimony. Money. Where you put your money, where you put your treasure is where your heart will be also. And there are not many men who are not willing. Most men are willing to invest top dollar into the relationship. Men are expected to do such, and he doesn't mind doing such. She wants jewelry? He got you. You want them red bottom shoes? He got you. You want the Gucci bag, the Louis bag? He will save up and give you that because it will put a smile on her face. He wants to do this. He wants to make her happy. He wants to make her life easy. And he doesn't mind doing that with all of his money. However, this is a bad investment. Imagine investing every dollar you have ever made into something to have that money lost. It's definitely depressing. So it is when a man invests in a female financially. When you invest your all in something, that something is your everything. And when you lose everything, you lose it. Therefore, if she is your everything, to lose her is everything. And this is why men want to commit suicide, because losing her is losing everything, because you have made her your everything. And most men, most of you guys within the sound of my voice, you know exactly what that feels like. A living hell to have the woman that you love turn her back on you. We can laugh at men crying, but man, when it hits home, when it hurts, It really does. This is therapy, and there is no lying in therapy. How can we ever expect to overcome such things if we don't make the realization of such things and be honest about such things and deal with such things? And this is why you are subscribed to me on YouTube, and this is why you're on the Patreon page, because you can get the real here. It's not about machoism and machismo and swag and ego and alpha this and sigma that and I'm tough this and I'm tough that. We're talking about the heart. And here we fix the heart to have a stronger heart and no longer have a heart for the wicked fail here. And this is why I don't want to greatly criticize guys who take their own lives behind a breakup. Think for a minute, man, how much pain a man has to be in to actually kill himself over a fail. The first law of nature is self-preservation. Everything within you is fighting to live longer. Your sexual desires is part of that desire to live. If you can't breathe, you'll do everything necessary and possible in order to do so. So imagine for a minute, man, the pain that a guy has to be in to say, you know what? I no longer want to live because life is too unbearable, too painful. I'm too broken. I'm too hurt to breathe again because she left me. It's a natural reflex that if you're short of breath to gasp for air, you don't even have to think about it. If an object goes around your throat, you quickly grab at that object. If something is falling from above, you're going to protect your head. It's natural. Again, you don't have to think about it. But how deep is it to turn off the natural instinct to live because of the pain of losing a woman that you made your all? And saying that you would rather be dead than to live without her? Yeah, we can criticize guys for the pain, man. But that man and his mind and his soul and his world, that pain must be unbearable. Again, because men often make women their everything, but in turn, she doesn't do such. Therefore, it is easier for her to leave. And for some men, they'd rather be dead than to live without this one woman. No matter how you criticize, no matter how you judge it, that is some type of love a man must be feeling to end himself over it. And guess what? I've never attempted to do so, but I sure as hell in my lifetime, more than once, more than twice, have felt like death would be better than living without a particular woman. And probably can feel that way again. Not bragging about this. This is a sad thing, but just keeping it real because this is therapy. You get the real here. My heart goes out to brothers who have felt that way and ended their lives because of such, not realizing that life can actually be better without a female in it. Number 4, as to the reason why breakups are often much more difficult for a man than it is for a woman, is because men are often more committed than women are. Contrary to popular belief, men believe more in monogamy than women. Men are often so-called faithful to the woman that he's seeing. Most men, many men, often just want one girl if they fall in love. Now, sure, guys will say they want multiple women, but you've known men, I've known men, not me, who once they get that one woman, man, that one-itis sets in and they just want to be loyal and so-called faithful to that one woman. But not her. She often has many men in her life. And remember, just because she's not necessarily being intimate with another man doesn't mean that she's not doing other things with other men. She often cheats emotionally. Then physical cheating follows. For the majority of guys, I think I can say, but not myself, that they want just one good woman. I want a few, but most guys are monogamous and just want one. Men are willing to cut off female friends. Men are willing to not have other girlfriends to keep the woman that they have in their lives. I know guys who will stop talking, who have stopped talking to their mamas, the woman who birthed them. They say, you know what, mama, forget you because my girl doesn't like you. I've seen it. I've heard it. A man to cut off his own mama, or at least in part, or deal less with his mama, or see his mother less because he has a woman in his life. But she won't. She'll keep those associations. She'll keep others in her life. She will not do what you will do. In fact, when she does break up, she has a vast social network to help her get over you. You're all in. You're committed to her. You cut off family, friends, relatives. You won't hang out with your boys to be up under your girl. But her, when she gets in that car on her way to work, when she's at work, she's talking to her guy friends, female friends, everybody. You give up all, and she keeps them all. So when the breakup happens, she can call on all of her friends and they will empathize with her. They'll be there for her. But who do you have? And oftentimes we can't even talk to other guys about how we really feel, which is the reason why I'm doing this video and the reason why I'm in this space, so we can talk. To hell with somebody else. Think about it. But that vast network of people that she has to support her through and in any hardship helps to propel her past you and into the arms of another, along with the fact that her feelings for you are not as deep as your feelings for her. She then has a network to support her. She's not as committed. She's not as invested as you are, and has a vast network to deal with whatever residual feelings that she may have or had for you. Many male friends, many orbiters, many play brothers, many play cousins, many ex-boyfriends, many ex-husbands. And don't forget, she can still reach out to the guy that imprinted her back in high school or college. And she even keeps contact with that particular man or those men and says that she would always love that guy. But what and who do you have? Oftentimes, absolutely nothing. Fully committed to a relationship is he, but he has to stand alone when that relationship ends and sort out his own feelings. So it stands to reason why breakups are much, much, much easier for her than it is to him. She has a lot of support and she's not as committed, which goes into number 5. Men have no outlets to express themselves. She has all her family and friends to express her emotions to dump her emotions to, or upon, I should say. And she can easily go online and meet a guy this very moment, this very hour, and very day, and he will listen to everything she has to say about the breakup. And he will listen because he's trying to get a chance to be the next guy and who she dumps. But you, old friend, on the other hand, who wants to hear you talk about your heartbreak? Who wants to hear you cry and moan and groan about the woman you loved who left you? Who wants to be bothered with that as a man? Can you call your buddies? No, they don't want to hear that. They might even laugh at you. And if they are going to hear it, it's only for a second. They're not going to want to really hear that. And there's nothing they can do and say anyway, but they won't even give an ear to that. Can't go to your relatives. Can't go to your friends. And if you have a female somewhere around, of course, she will say it's all your fault. So who do you have as a man? Nothing and no one. You're often left alone to truly deal and process your feelings of breakup, despair, and hopelessness all alone. Because men, we are truly alone. You can cry out to the Most High. And of course, that's more than enough. But when you want to hear another ear, a human being who can share in your pain, that is often missing, isn't it? Again, knowing these things is the reason why I have these therapy sessions. Going through heartbreak can be one of the toughest things a man have to go through in his life. It feels like someone has died. And it's very difficult when you have no one to talk to, no one to relate to, no one who can understand you, nobody who can sympathize and empathize, no one who can hear you as you go through this. Dark hours, dark nights. I've been there, alone in a bedroom, full of pain, full of hurt, full of despair, full of hopelessness, without anyone who can even remotely care. and all you have is you. Because men see other men as weak for being human, and women see men as weak for being human. You're not allowed to have humanity. You are not allowed to hurt. You're not allowed to show weakness of any sort. Because through the eyes of men and through the eyes of females, you're shamed and considered less than a man if you feel even remotely human. How lonely is that? But no need to feel that way here. This is therapy. Although I may laugh at the simp, I am not laughing at the true, real, red-pilled man who is crying out for help to process such. A simp is one who understands his own role and his own demise and chooses to ignore all of the signs, preferring abuse, preferring to be used, preferring to be subservient, instead of coming into power and living above such placement by society and by the female as under her. Simps want to be simps, but not us. We push and break through. And number 6, last and not least, as to the reason breakups are often easier for her than it is for you, why it's a tougher road, why it's so easy for her to go from one guy to the next. Number 6, last and not least, and it serves to be intentionally redundant and to reiterate the most important point of why it is indeed difficult for men to get over women, why it's more difficult for a man to push out on that other side of the breakup. Again, it's because a woman is a man's whole world and reason for being. Sad but true. She's his world. A man in love makes his woman his everything and oftentimes can't help it. Therefore, when she leaves, he has lost everything. And when he loses everything, he feels like nothing is worth living for in this world, because he would have to live without his everything, which is her. So he chooses not to be. He chooses to end himself because he has nothing left to live for. And keeping it real, I'm not talking about you guys, but most men only care about money because money is a big attraction for her. Many guys wouldn't even wash their ass if there were no females around. Look at all the rich celebrities and athletes and businessmen who get married over and over and over again and give away millions and billions of wealth to the female. And they do this because the money doesn't matter. The money only serves as a means to attract the female. It's the vehicle that brings her to him. These men care nothing about the money. And the money only feels good as far as a woman looks at him and says, hey, you're a great guy because you are rich. His self-worth, his self-esteem, his value comes from however women perceive him within the society. And he's willing to go against his own self-interest just to have a woman in his life. He's willing to give up millions and billions for a woman to love her, for the opportunity to love her. There is not a drug that exists upon all the earth than that drug that intoxicates a man when he loves a woman. There is no drug more powerful than the drug of a man's love for a woman. A man would literally destroy himself for the love of a woman. And this is why conversations like this must continue, because whether you are a man who has felt like that or even close to that, we need this therapy, right? We need this therapy to live above the clouds, man. Because when men lose their relationship with that woman, they lose everything. The car, the house, the alimony, the child support. Many men don't care about losing that. They just want her. And while you're paying for her to live in the house, while you're paying for her to drive the car after she's left you. When you're paying the alimony and child support, she's going to go to the next guy who's already waiting. I've heard countless stories of men going through the divorce, still paying for the house, still paying for the car, while she's on to the next guy. The dating and relationship game in this day and age is her game, a game where she's guaranteed, no matter what, to win. And that victory is a victory over you. Her win is indeed your defeat. And society makes sure this is so. So when men lose women, as they most often do, they feel like they've lost everything. And this is why we keep it casual and occasional. This is why we pump and let her dump. This is why we catch and release, because we don't date, we recreate, man. Now this has been another video from Black Ram 313, a professor of pussyology at Treat 'em All Like the Hoes That They Are University. Thanks for watching, and until the next episode, my brethren, stay well. Black Ram 313, and I'm out.